Hey, what's up everyone, David here and welcome back to another video, this time a little different than our usual videos on the channel. This isn't news, this isn't anything, but it kind of is about news because Nintendo revealed a couple of weeks back that they are shutting down the Wii U eShop and the Nintendo 3DS eShop as well. Now when Sony did the same thing for the PS3 store, PS Vita store and PSP store, I did a video talking about Atlus games that you should get for your PlayStation consoles before the stores shut down. Now if you want to check out this video, the link is down in the description below. Thank you for the reception on the video. I think you guys enjoyed it. So if you like this one, make sure to drop a quick thumbs up as well. It really helps people find the show, and for more content on anything Atlus, Shin Megami Tensei Persona, you are at the right place. But of course today, you've seen the title, we're talking about the eShop and what games from Atlus I think you guys should get for sure, especially since in terms of Atlus games on, of course, the PlayStation systems, there was a couple of games that were kind of pricey, but in terms of Nintendo, we're talking really pricey for the most part. So I think this video is good for people who want to get the digital games on the eShop before the store closed down, and also for physical games collector as well that want to get the games physically now before the value shot up in price, because if you can't get the games on the digital stores, well, the physical games will explode, and they're already really expensive. Well, most of these games are. So today I'm going to suggest my games that I think you guys should check out on the stores and which game you should buy, and I'm going to give you the actual value of the games right now, average complete in box on the market in terms of physical copies as well. So the first game that I want to suggest is not a game that I have physically to show, because I have the DS version of this game. It is Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology. Now, Radiant Historia is an Atlus developed game that was first released on the DS. A very good turn-based RPG, and I do have it right there, actually, right there on the shelf. This is the DS version of the game. 3DS version has a couple of additions, but not enough for me to double dip. So if you want to check out Radiant Historia, it is still available. The Perfect Chronology edition of the game still available on the digital store, and physically a copy of Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology on 3DS will run you about $79 US for a complete in-box copy of the game, which is already double MSRP. So just keep that in mind if you want to get it physical. It's going to get more expensive as well. But I do recommend the DS version, which aged super well. Very good version to play. I still play it every now and then. It's a really good RPG, so I fully suggest this one. I definitely want to review that game at some point because it's really good. So if you want to get the DS version, way cheaper, I suggest you go for the DS version. Now, of course, you can't talk Atlus games on Nintendo without talking about Megaton, so Persona SMT. Mostly SMT. 3DS is a system that I love so much because it's a Megaton machine for me. So there's a lot of games that I want to talk about in terms of Megaton. So the first game is a game that I adore. Like, I adore. Devil Survivor Overclock. Now this one, once again, is available on DS. I think this version with the voice acting and all is really solid. It's fantastic. It really is. Very solid game. So Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor Overclock. This is the re-release of the DS version. This is a tactical strategy turn-based RPG. It's really different from anything else. If you played other SMT games, it's a similar combat system, but on a grid. So you move on the grid, and then once you hit an enemy on the grid, you get into a standard SMT1 type of battle with some format of the press turn combat. So really good game, great characters, amazing story, really rough as well. Devil Survivor Overclock, physically this one goes for $57, the overclocked version of the game, once again, which isn't too bad, but if you go for the regular DS version, way cheaper as well. So just keep that in mind. Still available on the store as well. Its sequel, Devil Survivor 2 Record Breaker. This one I didn't play, but it's really similar. Different story, obviously, different characters. It's the sequel. This one is $52 physically. Once again, available on the store. So I really recommend these ones if they look great to you. Probably you should get them for sure as soon as you can. Next up, we're talking Persona. So Persona Q, the first one. This one I played a little bit, not to completion. It is very much an Etrian Odyssey type of game, but with Persona characters. This is a crossover of Persona 3 and 4 as well in the same game. Really good game overall. Great story, great music as well. Very good music, but the gameplay again isn't for everyone. It's really different, like really traditional dungeon crawling, so you guys should check it out. Persona Q. This one physically still really affordable. They reprinted it a couple of times. $30 for this one complete in box, which is really good. I suggest you go for it. Now its sequel though, Persona Q2, New Cinema Labyrinth. This one is for, once again, a crossover, but with Persona 5 characters in it. This one released way too late. That's like a 2019 release, I think, on the 3DS. So the Switch was out there, and it flopped for that reason. It didn't sell a lot of copies. So this one will absolutely be expensive at some point. It's still at the regular price. It's right now going for more or less $48 used, complete in box. I didn't play that one. I know the soundtrack's good. It's basically the same thing as Q, the first game, but it's the sequel to a different story, and of course the addition of the Persona 5 characters as well. So very solid game, $48. You should probably make sure to check it out. So these ones are PQ2 as well. Now a game that is in the news right now, that would be Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor Soul Hackers. Now this game isn't for everyone. I'm not gonna lie, it's not for everyone. There's certain elements, there's certain gameplay features that didn't age as well as other games that I mentioned before, like Devil Survivor 1 and 2. I think these games could release today and they would like be perfectly fine in the modern market. This one, not so much. First person dungeon crawler, amazing cast of characters, like quite possibly the best one on 3DS, maybe the second best. Very solid in terms of characters. Music is really good as well. This is a cyberpunk setting as well for Soul Hackers, so really different from anything else, but similar combat system in terms of how you battle, so turn-based system. Very hard game as well. I like the first person dungeon crawling. It is very well done. The dungeon are okay, there's one dungeon in the game that is really rough, and I couldn't say it's well designed, but most of them are. So I fully recommend this one. Again, it's in the news right now. If you want to play the first Soul Hackers game, not the first Devil Summoner, but the first Soul Hackers game, this is where you need to play it. Very solid re-release of the Sega Saturn classic. So Soul Hackers, this one will run you $55 complete in box. But again, with the recent news right now, I think this may not be at 55 anymore when you watch this. So you should jump into this one. Still available in the digital eShop stores. Really solid game. I adore it. Even with its gameplay elements that didn't age too well, I adore it. So check this one out. Now this next one is a little controversial. This is a re-release of the DS classic Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey. This one is Strange Journey Redux. Now, as you can see, a lot of DS games were re-released. Devil Survivor 1, Devil Survivor 2, and then this one. But the thing with this one, they changed some of the art style, so the artists changed, and some of the fans of Megaton, they don't really appreciate Masayuki Doi's new design for certain characters in this one. So demon designs, the new demons, the addition of Alex, the new character in the game, the new dungeon. It's not all the fans like it. I personally think this is a really good version of Strange Journey. Maybe check both versions out and see the differences for yourself and see if you think this one is for you or not, but I still recommend it. I think this is a really good way to play Strange Journey. I beat it last year for the first time actually, and I used this version and I really liked it. So I reviewed the game, played both versions. So if you want to check out my review of this game, you will see what are the differences. I talk about the differences between the DS and 3DS version of the game, but this one is not too pricey. It's at $56 for now, so it's not too bad. This one released a little late as well. It was for the 25th anniversary of Megaton, so this is a 2017 release. Solid, in my opinion. Very solid, but again, the DS version is perfectly fine, if not better to some people, so if you want to get the DS version, it's fine, but this one, still available digitally as well, so really solid game. Now, I want to bring up the only Wii U title that I have on this list. This is a Wii U and 3DS video, but there's only one Wii U title because the Wii U kind of flopped, you know, and in terms of support, Sega and Atlus weren't that great. But there's one game in particular that I like so much, and whenever I have a chance to talk about it, I need to bring it up. We mentioned how Redux, Strange Journey Redux was controversial. Well, this one is more controversial. That would be Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. One of the best combat systems in all of Megaton, in my opinion. I know this is this was supposed to be SMT Crossfire Emblem, very different. Now this one I put on the list because you can get this thing, it's brand new, it's sealed, and you can get a sealed copy for like $20 or so. It's probably gonna raise in value, but very cheap. If you own a Wii U, you can get it there. But at the same time, it's available on Switch as Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE Encore. This one didn't really utilize the gamepad that great or that much, so you should probably just get the Switch version to play it portably. A real version, portable, you know. But still, if you want to get the cheapest choice, this is cheaper, and this is still a very good game, so I wanted to put it on the list. Now, there's a ton of Etrian Odyssey games as well that are available on the 3DS. I do not own any of them physically. I didn't play much of the Etrian Odyssey series, so I cannot say too much. All I can say is I like the character designs and I also adore the music in these games, but I need to play more. Of course, I want to play Persona Q first, or at least the completion, but just know that there's a lot of Etrian Odyssey on the system. They're expensive and they're great, so if you are into the Etrian Odyssey series, you should probably check out what's available on the digital store for sure. Now, the two final games that I want to talk about, first one being one of my favorite games of all time, top 3 for sure. That would be Shin Megami Tensei 4. So Shin Megami Tensei 4 is of course the 4th mainline installment in the Shin Megami Tensei series. Very, very, very solid game. Like one of the best soundtracks of all time. My favorite Megaton story of all time, Persona and mainline included. The characters are fantastic. The gameplay is... okay, let me phrase it that way. In my opinion, it's perfect. It's really is. It's perfect. So how you explore the map, how you explore the dungeons, the look of the game as well. That's an early 3DS game. That looks really good. I need to say it again. The music is fantastic. Just, it's so good. It's awesome from start to finish. So Shin Megami Tensei 4, do yourselves a favor. If you watch this video and you're thinking, I need to buy one Atlus game, this is the one to go for. So Shin Megami Tensei 4, fantastic. The physical copy, so this little one that you can see on the shelf, the regular edition of the game, that's $49. But I want to mention as well, there's some DLC missions that you can get on the eShop. Those are exclusive, digital exclusive. So if you want to get them, this is the only place where you can get them. So DLC for Shin Megami Tensei 4 and Shin Megami Tensei 4 are still available on the Nintendo 3DS eShop. Great stuff overall. So I fully recommend you go for it. Physical version, $49. Now this next one is Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse, the direct sequel to SMT4 with new characters and just an original story that isn't as good in my opinion. Some of the new characters are not that great in my personal opinion, so definitely SMT4 Apocalypse still worth playing because the dungeons are great. There's a lot of quality of life features that 4 didn't have that this one has, which makes it way more easy for people to get into. You don't absolutely have to play SMT4 to enjoy this one, but I definitely recommend playing 4 before because you are going to enjoy that one even more if you played 4 before. I still like the story, even with the little elements that I think are a little off. I adore it. It's really good. Still worth playing. Now, this one physically is rough. This one physical is $79 right now, so it's really pricey. Oh, $72 US. Sorry, $72 US for this one. So yeah, if you want to get it physical before the store closed down, I absolutely recommend it. SMT4 Apocalypse, solid game. This one, very important to note that there's some awesome DLC available on the eShop, and you should absolutely get it. In my opinion, you can fight some of the older protagonists. So we're talking SMT 1, 2, and 3. 4 protagonists all in that game with the DLC, so you should absolutely look at the DLC as well. If you play the regular game, you enjoy it. The DLC will leave the stores in 2023, so you should absolutely go for it. So this is my batch of Atlus and Sega games that I wanted to suggest for you guys. You should get them on the store if you want to save some money, but if you are a physical collector and you like useless plastic like me, you can go ahead and get the physical versions before they're even more expensive. All these games, or most of these games, are some of the most expensive titles on the 3DS physically, so if you're a collector, you should go for it. The prices will raise as closer that we get to the release, so if you have a little bit of money right now, I would go for it now, because Soul Hackers, for example, $55 right now. I'm sure that in a month it's going to be at $70 because of the recent news, but in a year it's going to be like insane. So you should absolutely go for it if you want to have it physically, that is. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, just a quick thumbs up, it really helps. I wanted to make this. If you play some of the games that I suggested on the list, make sure to drop a comment and let me know what you thought of the game. And if you have some games to suggest yourself, whether it's some of the Etrian Odyssey games that I didn't necessarily list, or some other Atlus titles that I didn't mention because they published some other stuff, make sure to drop a comment and explain why we should check out these games out, so people can look at the description as well. So people can look at the comment section as well and see for themselves if they want to get the games or not. Thank you for watching, y'all. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.